But maybe down the line, Zack could come back for a legacy sequel with some of the crew to wrap a bow on it. Now, first off, so when it comes to DC Elseworlds, so this was on Saturday. Naturally, I was home, saw that, and I was like, DC Elseworlds. And then, of course, when I posted about the that right there with the screenshot and DC Elseworlds and everything like that, I mean, first off, it was just like, wow, people didn't remember that James Gunn mentioned DC Elseworlds and even said the Batman was going to be part of that when he talked about the DC slate, the gods and monsters 2 years ago. Like, they don't remember that he actually talked about that. It was weird that people were like, oh, this is just like news to people and everything like that. It's like, you guys, it was like very strange. But then naturally, what of course came into the mentions as well was the fact that, hey, well, he can restore the Snyderverse, right? He can restore the Snyderverse underneath the DC Elseworlds logo, the banner right there. And of course, I had a lot of that. And then, of course, a lot of arguments that were happening underneath that tweet. And of course, me responding to some people too, and everything like that. And I even decided to retweet it. And I said, and there's my tweet right here. Look, they're not going to restore the Snyderverse under the Elseworlds banner, but maybe down the line, Zack could come back for a legacy sequel with some of the crew to wrap a bow on it. Now, first off, I would even say that Zack even wrapped a bow on it when it came to Zack Snyder's Justice League. When you see the credits, when it fades out, you see Martian Manhunter, and then of course it says For Autumn, which of course gets me every time, hits me in the feels every time. But at the same time, I'm just like going, okay, there's still an opening because obviously he did leave it open. He left the cliffhanger. He left the cliffhanger open for, of course, when it comes to Darkseid and, of course, Ready the Armada. And we see that shot, that glorious shot. And it's kind of funny, too, because, I mean, I remember, when Zack was really just kicking all that into gear and I was having private conversations and stuff like that with them. I mean, obviously, we are so grateful that HBO Max and all of them, Warner Media and everything before all that changed and all the stuff changed right there. As much as they were like, yeah, we want the Snyder Cut because people are demanding it. I remember he specifically said that they still wanted him to change that ending. They wanted him to close off that ending where they didn't leave it open for a cliffhanger. But of course, Zack being Zack, he's like, no, I'm not going to do that. Ending stays the way it is, as it rightly should. And it was great because right after that, after the Snyder Cut came out, the hashtag Restore the Snyderverse got 1.5 million tweets. And it was kind of like, as Warner Brothers and Hamada and Emmerich and all those fucking assholes were trying to figure out what the hell they were doing. Thankfully, they're not there now. It was kind of like a battle cry of like, hey, you fucked up. You fucked up. You guys did not trust this, and now look what's happening. People are enjoying Zack Snyder's Justice League, and they want more. I'm not one of those that's gonna, that's using these crazy hashtags anymore. I've accepted it. I even thought, I was like, anything else would be a bonus. Anything else would be a bonus. So when it comes to me, and when it came to this, and seeing and talking with people, I mean, of course, there are people that are. I was talking to somebody underneath my mentions right here about this, that thought that Zack would put his own money into the budgets. Zack is not going to put his own money into these movies. Okay? I'm sorry. Zack is not that rich. Okay? Sure, he's pretty well off, but he's not going to put... These movies cost hundreds of millions of dollars. Hundreds of millions of dollars. He ain't going to be putting his money into that, okay? Zack would put his money probably in a small project that's something passion project that he would actually want to do. So it's just like kind of crazy. But I was just saying, one of my things, which I was trying to find a middle ground between the Zack Snyder haters, because I got a lot of hate too from Zack Snyder haters. Of course, I got a lot of hate where people were saying no and blah, blah, blah. And I even pushed back on them too. But I was trying to be reasonable and be like, guys, what if there was just some kind of legacy, almost like a Kingdom Come kind of, so we could see what happens when Lois had the baby. We could see what happens with that. We could see where Bruce is after all this. We could see where if Diana's still alive, or we could see a lot of things. Did Darkseid actually invade? Did he find his way, or do we actually see him finally find Earth again, or something like that, years later, or something like that? I don't know. Could be something. But then again, Zack could just, if he were gonna get welcomed back, if James Gunn was like, Zack, you want to make a DC project in Elseworlds? Come on back. Zack might just want to do a Dark Knight Returns adaptation, which he said he'd want to do many times. Even though I would say BVS was close enough, but he wants to do a direct adaptation of Dark Knight Returns because he loves that book so much. So that's probably what would happen if Zack came back. But yeah, there was just a lot of like interesting stuff that happened there. But